breaking news from KXAN News.
And we do start with breaking news out of southeast Austin, where a house fire is now under control. This is on Riverside Farms Road, just south of Riverside Drive.
Austin firefighters tell us everyone inside at the time made it out. Our crew on the scene says the fire is out. A cause, though, is still under investigation. There's a light layer of ice in parts of the hill country tonight after freezing rain in the town of Doss in Gillespie County. Because of the weather conditions, Doss and other school districts are on a 2-hour delay. Some have even decided to cancel class tomorrow. We do have a list running at the bottom of the screen and on KXAN.com.
And other parts of Texas got a good covering of snow. From Amarillo to Dallas-Fort Worth up to Denton. There was even snow falling out west in El Paso.
Okay, no snow in the Austin metro, but Nick, the cold rain has really been much needed.
Yeah, and most areas picked up more than an inch of it, and it's wrapping up soon, but not without leaving some ice in some parts of the hill country. Let's take a look at some additional photos that we got from Burnett here via reportit@KXAN.com. And by the way, if you've got some wintry photos to send us wherever you've been here today, reportit@KXAN.com. We'd love to see what you experienced. But yes, some ice-covered branches and trees, and we are drying out now. And of course, in the metro, it was just this, a cold rain. Let's take you to our Austonian weather camera where that rain is wrapping up. This is what it looks like on radar. Still steadily raining in our eastern counties, but in the Austin metro, we're seeing the back edge of the rain coming to an end here. One thing that we've been mentioning for the last couple of days, as the rain ends, it could flip over to snow in parts of the hill country. That is actually happening now in San Saba and soon into Lampasas counties. If you're watching us from these two counties and you see snow, definitely send us a video of that, reported at KXAN.com. Temperatures are above freezing just about everywhere, though. So other than a few dustings on the grass in San Saba and Lampasas counties, I don't expect much in the way of accumulation. Winter weather advisories continue until 6 tomorrow morning for the leftover effects of the weather that we've had over the last 18 hours or so. But I do expect they will probably cancel that early. Overnight, we get down to 34 as this rain and mix slowly ends. We'll be slowly drying out and tracking that in first warning weather. We'll be tracking a wind chilly Friday for you. As we head into the weekend, we'll start cold, but we'll end much warmer than we've been in a little while.
All right, Nick, thank you very much. Well, we told you yesterday about bird flu turning up in North Austin. Well, we've learned those samples came from ducks in the Arboretum area.
And the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department says multiple dead ducks tested positive for the disease that continues to spread across the country. KXAN's Sarah Alshay explains the risk it poses to people and how officials recommend stopping the spread.
The pond at the Arboretum Shopping Center, an area where some come to feed ducks. Now the same place where the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department says multiple dead ducks tested positive for the highly pathogenic avian influenza, also known as the bird flu.
There was a call that was received to us about some ducks that had been found dead in the pond.
This part of a growing spread across the country and state. Earlier this week, the Louisiana Department of Health reported a 65-year-old person passed away from the disease. The person reportedly had underlying medical conditions. The World Health Organization says bird flu's risk to the public is low.
It's not circulating in humans, but it is jumping into humans who are exposed, particularly those exposed to poultry or to the dairy cattle, the two sort of groups where we're seeing most of the movement from animal to human, but we're not seeing sustained circulation.
Still, Sarah Wyckoff, a wildlife veterinarian for Texas Parks and Wildlife, stresses the importance of taking steps to help stop the spread.
Avoid any type of congregation or bringing these animals together. So we are going to recommend that any type of bird feeding, whether it's, ducks or geese or just something at these lake areas, we really want to kind of stop people from doing that.
Sarah Alshay, KXAN News.
Now, as for what to look out for, Parks and Wildlife says sick birds will appear a bit twitchy. Sarah actually found a duck at the pond today exhibiting behavior that may have fit this description. Take a look. We sent this video to Parks and Wildlife so they can analyze. Now, in some cases, authorities say you might see an infected bird with their neck completely twisted. Parks and Wildlife says do not handle dead birds. If you see one you think is sick, just contact them. We have more information over at KXAN.com. We want to give you a live look at the current conditions of the raging wildfires in the Los Angeles area. Close to 180,000 people now been told to evacuate. And here is a live look for you right now of an active fire. You can see that firefighters are working on right now. Here's what we know. There are at least 5 fires burning tonight, including one today police are investigating as arson. Officials confirm at least 7 people are now dead, but officials say the real number is unknown at this time.
President Joe Biden says the federal response includes covering all the costs from cleanup, protection, and cash assistance for nearly 6 months. Survivors say the mental health impact is a challenge.
Man, everybody's just all over the place right now, just trying to figure out what to do next. Stress, anxiety is at a high right now.
When we came yesterday, it looked like an inferno in here. It looked like a tornado. The winds were so high and the fire was burning sideways. It was heartbreaking.
One of the largest wildfires, the Palisades fire, is more than 24 square miles. And for comparison here, that single fire is larger than the island of Manhattan.
Well, it's a quiet night in Plains, Georgia, after family and friends laid to rest former President Jimmy Carter. All 5 living presidents attended his national funeral earlier today. Carter will rest alongside his late wife, Rosalind. He was 100 years old.
And that's all that we're seeking, is just to get her justice and make her proud and know that we love her and we're not going to give up on her.
It's been 1 year since 14-year-old Treasure Carter died after suffering traumatic injuries on a northeast Austin road. Police initially labeled it an accidental death, saying she fell off her push scooter. Her family never believed that and turned to KXAN for answers. Our reporting resulted in an updated autopsy report and APD reopening the case to further investigate whether this was a hit and run. Tonight, we reveal newly released evidence and update you on where the case stands now. I'm KXAN investigator Josh Hinkle, and a fatal fall, an ongoing KXAN investigation, is coming up.
Someone took her life. She did not fall. Someone should be held accountable.
If I had more indications that Trey was struck by a vehicle, we would find that person. Hunt them down.
This week marks 1 year since Treasure Carter died. Following severe injuries, Austin police initially said happened after accidentally falling off her push scooter just blocks from home. During our investigation, we revealed possible missteps by the police, including the failure to seize key evidence at the scene, like the 14-year-old's scooter, last seen in body camera video we obtained from that night. We shared our findings with several forensic experts who all said the case was consistent with a hit and run. The Travis County Medical Examiner also amended its autopsy report because of the evidence and information we collected, saying Carter's death most likely involved a motor vehicle than a scooter fall. Based on that change, APD reopened Treasure's case, but citing the now ongoing investigation, police say they're unable to comment further on any progress. For the family, that only adds to frustration that started just days after Treasure died. It's what you see and hear in newly released body camera footage early on when the original detective visits Carter's home, pushing a narrative that seemed to shape the closure of this case since its beginning.
You watched the video, you pretty much kind of heard the response when I asked the questions. It was like, hey, we're doing our job. We've been doing this for a while.
In recent days, Tanisha Plummer sat for an interview with our team in her mother's living room, the same spot where she spoke with Austin police detectives a year ago about her little sister dying.
So I'm a vehicular homicide detective. What my unit does is we investigate fatality collisions. I'm very sorry to hear about Treasure's passing. I want you guys to know that we're here and we take this all very seriously, especially my unit. This is my passion.
Police closed Treasure Carter's case as an accidental death just weeks after these moments. They said that decision stemmed from the medical examiner's findings, though the ME's office has since told us its ruling was based on the information it had at the time. It reevaluated the case after we shared medical opinions, body camera footage from the scene, and other key evidence unavailable when the examination was conducted.
Usually when people are struck by vehicles, even at slow speed, there's a lot of injury that's sustained. There's a lot of bruising that happens. There's other injuries. It's never localized just to like one spot on the body.
But they said that there was road rash on her back, like from here down.
Beyond minor road rash, the lead detective wrote in the police report, Treasure didn't appear to have other trauma. He later added there was no debris from a crash, no skid marks, no blood. But medical records note a traumatic brain injury with brain bleeding, a broken and dislocated neck, a shattered shin bone, and lacerations of her kidneys, liver, and spleen. Traumatic details her sister and other family members have never let go.
I've been here at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and I just talked to her.
What caused all the other internal damages?
Usually when people are struck by a vehicle, there's a lot more legs and hips and ribs and spinal columns and skull fractures, especially skull fractures.
I don't know if she got hit or if she just fell. What if she just got dumped? This is what she was.
Okay, so where was she found?
She was found right here.
What's that? There's a scooter right here.
If you fall, you're going to be close to the scooter, so was she found close to the scooter?
I think that's probably hers too, because that looks very new.
The police report shows the distance between objects at the scene. Treasure's shoes, scooter, and her body were spread 70 to 90 feet apart. Still, the lead detective maintained the idea there was no collision, but likely an accidental fall.
I have 3 kids, so I know what it's like. I don't know what it's like to lose a child, but I know how much you love your kids and how much you want answers. And so I kind of wanted to come give you guys some of those answers. I had assumed as a parent, I had thought it would be better for me to know that maybe my child was hurt in an accident rather than assuming that someone ran over my child and just left them there, if that makes sense. That's why I wanted to come give you guys this information, because I think it's a tragic accident. That's what everything is indicating.
You know, this is your job. You say you have kids. You should treat the situation like it's your child. And if it was your child, you would not want someone to just satisfy you with an answer. You would want them to full force go and find those answers. And that is not what we have received, not then and not now.
So y'all are basically here to tell us that y'all are going to try to rule this as an accident?
Well, no, I'm not closing anything right now.
They kind of came in with their minds already made up on the decision for her investigation. So it was kind of frustrating to deal with that, because that's basically what we were told right off the beginning, that it was an accident.
You have to give us a better explanation, because I'm getting agitated right now, because you basically telling me you here to rule it out as an accident. That was not an accident, and we need to see every piece of proof that says that that is an accident.
Scooter was here. Her body was back by the fire truck.
But vital proof went missing, like Treasure's scooter, never recovered from the scene.
Even if you felt it was a scooter accident, you left the scooter. Why?
So the scooter probably should have been taken?
It was 43. We're going to treat it like a crash.
Despite this admission, it was clear the detective was skeptical a vehicle was involved. During the initial scene investigation, he noted a lack of evidence and any viable leads in the police report.
Just title it Fail to Stop and Render Aid for now.
Still, he instructed officers to title it a failure to stop and render aid, the charge for a hit-and-run incident.
Usually when someone is struck by a vehicle, there's a lot of physical evidence. People sustain a lot more injuries. I said, this seems consistent to me with more of a scooter fall. I said, I don't know that she was struck by a vehicle. It doesn't appear that way. But I said, just to cover our bases, let's make sure we investigate it like it is.
This is one of the first flyers I put up while Treasure was still in the hospital.
With the hit-and-run label, the family assumed police were investigating a crime. So it was confusing when the detective suggested Treasure accidentally fell from her scooter.
I'm an accident reconstructionist. I've gone through a lot of training and a lot of things, and when we respond to scenes and we kind of put together things and figure out the evidence and what happened.
The questions that I was asking were not valid, that they were seasoned detectives, they knew what they were doing, and kind of that they were offended with the questions.
Police said no one at APD was disciplined for failing to collect evidence.
I won't stop until it's over. I don't care what it takes.
I'll be here.
While the case has since reopened, Treasure's family fears any chance for accountability may be lost.
And I'm going to see this to the end.
Along with catching a driver they believe is responsible.
The grieving process, even a year later, hasn't started for my mom. It hasn't started for my family, you know.
You're still waiting for answers?
We're still waiting, and we're not going to stop until we get them, you know what I mean? Because that's what Treasure would want.
As we previously mentioned, the detective speaking in that body camera footage, who was once in charge of the case, resigned just a few days after we first started asking questions to APD about discrepancies in the investigation. APD says his resignation was unrelated. We've reached out to him directly for comment, but have not heard back. You can see the evidence we've uncovered by watching our original report in the investigative section of KXAN.com. Josh Hinkle, KXAN Investigates.
All right, let's take you out to our Austonian weather camera here, where we are seeing the steadier rain wrapping up. Still a bit drizzly and misty, and there's still some rain, mostly east of 35, and we had a good amount of it today, although we could, of course, have used more. Most of the hill country got an inch, and these are the basins that feed our area lakes and our water supply, of course. So this is most crucial that we get those heavier amounts in the hill country, and they were respectable amounts. We even had some 1-inch plus totals in portions of the western metro. Amounts at Austin's Camp Mabry topped 0.8 of an inch, and at the airport 0.9 of an inch. Not quite an inch, but these are not quite the final tallies yet, but close. And then 1 inch to 1.5 inches, if not a little more than that, in parts of our eastern counties where we don't quite need the rain as much, but hey, happy to have it, I'm sure. As far as what's happening now, the storm is slowly pulling away. For most of 35 and westward, just a few showers. East of 35, the rain is still steady. But I do want to draw your attention back to the hill country, where you may be getting a brief light snow happening now on the back end of the precipitation. As we talked about for the last couple of days, you can see a flip over to snow for just a short time. But if you're out and about, you'll have to get it in the perfect light. There may be some flurries or some light snow falling down in San Saba, Lampasas, Llano, Gillespie, possibly Blanco and Burnett counties soon. So if you don't want to go to bed anytime soon, take a peek outside. Still forecasting some flakes that could even make it into parts of the metro here over the next hour. But anywhere that would see an accumulation, albeit a light one, would be San Saba, Lampasas, perhaps far northwestern sections of Mason. But don't get your hopes up there. Even those coatings would be very light. We're all done with this by 2 in the morning, if not earlier. And then tomorrow will be a mostly cloudy, mostly dry day. A few flurries and sprinkles possible here tomorrow, but generally speaking, it's dry. And then the skies clear here tomorrow evening and night. So tomorrow, 44, your high, but that breeze will make it feel more like the 30s. So still a cold day. And you can see those very minimal sprinkle and flurry chances in the morning. Clouds holding throughout, but a few holes in them may just open up. Hey, watch out Saturday morning, a widespread hard freeze with 20s everywhere, except parts of the hill country may drop down to the teens Saturday morning. So don't forget your 4 Ps before you go to bed Friday night. Here's your weekend, though. Saturday, sunshine, 55, mostly sunny Sunday, and we're up to 60. Then a cold front later in the day knocks us back in the 50s Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. Tiny rain chances at 10% here Wednesday and Thursday.
This is KXAN Sports, brought to you by Thomas J. Henry.
Pre-game press conference today. Ryan Day from Ohio State, Steve Sarkisian from Texas meeting at AT&T Stadium one last time to kind of mull over things before these two teams go at it trying to earn a trip to the national championship game. Good evening to you. Longhorns and Buckeyes, certainly two of the biggest brands in all of sports, and what a night it will be with a chance to play for a national title on the line. When you talk about Texas football, no player has been under the spotlight from the start like Quinn Ewers. Vince Young had a chance to ease into it. Colt McCoy had a chance to ease into it. But when Ewers transferred from Ohio State, really as a high school kid, so he had all of his college years left, he He was the starter from the jump, and he was under the microscope from the jump. 35 starts, 27 wins, a Big 12 championship. Of course, some ups and downs and 8 missed games of injury along the way. But the one thing about Ewers is he stays on that even keel, and that helps with his relationship with his head coach.
It's almost like he's the new era of college football. Here's a guy that goes to one school, transfers to another, and ends up playing that school in the semifinals, of just the portal and all that it entails. But it has not been an easy journey for him. There's been ups, there's been downs, there's been injuries, there's been great moments, there's been tough moments, there's been playing his best when his best was needed in critical moments. Last week was no different. But at the end of the day, he's always stayed true to who he is. The guy's been he's been a steady C for us.
Just the way that we practiced the entire week has built up, the confidence and not only ourselves, but obviously Coach Sark. So if he's saying stuff like that, we had a great week of prep, and I think we all felt that this week.
He throws receivers open. Even if they're not open, he throws them open in tight windows, and he can read defenses, and he can just sit back in the pocket and just diagnose defenses.
Yeah, he'll be doing it against a really good Ohio State defense. Don't forget Texas Game Day, 5:30 on Friday over on KBVO, official pregame show for Texas football. Other big story this week, Jay Hartzell, UT president, leaving for SMU. He was the man in the seat when Sark was hired.
He had to make a hire for a football coach at the University of Texas, which is not always the easiest thing to do. And he took a chance and took a risk on me as an assistant coach at that time. And then the support that he gave, not only the football program, but the entire athletic department, I think Chris Del Conte would echo the same sentiments was tremendous.
A regular at Moody Center, and tonight at Moody Center, oh my goodness, what a performance from the 5th-ranked Longhorns against 18th-ranked Alabama. Rory Harmon in Texas, 29 points in the first half, and they never look back. Again, this is a good Alabama team, and they beat them 84-40 for their 16th win of the season. Texas now goes to South Carolina on Sunday. For more sports, don't forget, go to KXAN.com.